Hi, it's Larold, and Legion Remix is out, and it's really fun. We've got a review of this game mode as we've experienced it so far, as well as some important tips, things we wish we had known before we started. The big question here is whether this game mode is worth your time, and we're going to answer that question in some detail. So let's get into it, but first be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join our Discord as well. We're continuing to grow, and we're talking about Legion Remix and the Midnight Alpha, so come join our community. Alright, so in case you missed it, Legion Remix is an abbreviated version of the Legion experience with some extra power bonuses thrown in for good measure. At the time of recording, I think there's like 101 days or so left in this game mode before it collapses and all the characters in it get migrated back into regular WoW. So the key here is speed. It is a faster game mode. Leveling is a lot faster. There are permanent account-wide XP bonuses for your characters. You can unlock this bonus on one character and it'll carry over to all of the rest. And the idea here is just simply leveling is fast, the characters are fast, you literally move faster. There's just a lot of emphasis on everything moving quicker. They have learned a lot of lessons from Mop Remix, and they've removed some of the fiddliness, a lot of the swapping in different skill gems into your gear. That's pretty much all gone. It's been kind of pared down a bit. And it is obviously still based off of the current version of WoW, so no Legion talents, no Legion artifact, no Legion legendaries, no Evoker. It's just current classes and specs. Hero talents are in there, but tier set bonuses do not seem to be in any way part of this game mode at all. Now, one of the big things that's a real selling point of this game mode, this remix game mode, that honestly they could maybe consider carrying over some version of this into retail WoW, is the amount of rewards that you get, the amount of gear that you get is almost like too much at times. Every single quest you do gives you a reward cache, and every single reward cache has a piece of gear in it. Maybe it'll be an upgrade while you're leveling, it usually is. Not necessarily always, but usually. But literally every breadcrumb world quest, go down the hallway and talk to Jim. Here's another piece of gear for it. It can be a little bit much as you're doing some of the very starting areas of going into a new zone, and you have 15 different breadcrumb quests, and now you have 15 pieces of gear. For the most part, it's pretty good to just simply do a lot of quests and keep your gear very easily maintained. It's something that the leveling experience in regular WoW actually kind of lacks. Heirlooms make up for that a lot, but there are definitely points where you might be level 65 and you're still wearing a pair of level 25 gloves in leveling in regular WoW, and that's definitely not happening in Remix at all. Now, because of that, there is this sort of power trip aspect to the game mode, which is really fun. That's kind of something that they're trying to emphasize, and they've even really built into that with this new Heroic World difficulty. You can activate that by, once you've completed the opening quest line, I think you have to hit level 20 or 30, you'll be given a quest that teaches you how to turn on Heroic World difficulty. You walk over here to the Console of Infinite Chaos, click it and turn it on. The world will turn all spooky and green for a minute. And then all the monsters that you encounter out in the world will now be basically a bunch of raid bosses. This is a real change of pace from the current standard of retail WoW leveling. The leveling experience is usually pretty easy. This felt much closer to vanilla leveling, trying to play a warrior and fight elite monsters. It really was quite brutal at times. In addition, they haven't dropped artifact weapons. As a concept, artifact weapons are still something that's in the game. There are a couple of little misleading things in there, though. I will say, they start off by telling you you choose this artifact weapon, you won't get to replace it for a while, you won't get to get the other artifact weapons for a while. Once you complete the opening scenario, you're immediately whisked away to your class hall and then told to do the quest to unlock an artifact weapon again, even though you were just handed one in the opening scenario. You do it again, and then as soon as you come back to your class hall, you're given another quest to go get an artifact weapon, and then that happens a third time. So you could have all three of them, but immediately within the first hour of starting to play, even though they very clearly tell you it's going to be a while. That's not actually true. So once you've unlocked your artifact weapon, and whether you're doing dungeons or quests or whatever, you'll start gaining infinite power, it's called, rather than artifact power. And what that does is it unlocks this class tree, this talent tree, that's the same for all artifact weapons, whether you're playing a priest or a warrior or a shaman. As long as it's not an evoker, you're going to have the same tree. And you basically fill out this whole left side of the tree. You got some like passive bonuses, some kind of nice stuff actually, like this stacking move speed buff whenever you're out of combat that also gives you pretty cool like fall damage, essentially fall damage immunity. So it's nice to be able to jump off of cliffs and not take fall damage. And you can see I'm moving faster because of that bonus. So fun stuff over here. But the main event really is you get to choose between one of 5 active skills, and then the skill twig after that has a bunch of passive bonuses in it. And I've been using Twisted Crusade as Fury, not really playing much arms, but as arms, and as protection. I did play around with all of them, but this does seem to be the best one for any sort of melee DPS or tank. A lot of the tank-oriented stuff is like these 2 bonuses. I am my Scars, which just gives you a bunch of reactive damage if you're hit. And then Touch of Malice gives you just a massive amount of extra damage on enemies. You basically just get like a 13% multiplier at the current state of bonuses that I have. And, you know, some other stuff in here, but mostly it's just about like getting a big multiplier on all your damage. And so rings and trinkets and like amulet all basically just give you passive bonuses from the tree, most of which are pretty good. The only one that I would point out and say like this actually really stinks is this bonus right here, Arcane Aegis. I would actively recommend staying away from this if at all possible. It sounds good. It essentially makes it so that when you S key, you get this big damage shield, but you also basically just stop moving whenever you S key. So like theoretically, it's something you can do. Very annoying to just like essentially have your S key just not work. Especially as like a tank having to, you know, S key and like not let mobs get behind you. I found that to be pretty frustrating. So I think that was something that Blizzard was trying something and just completely missed on ultimately with this Arcane Aegis bonus. Other than that, I think all the rest of the bonuses are really cool. There are a couple in here in particular that if I had known they existed, I might have played a caster, like a non-tank to start off. Storm Surger and Brewing Storm both allow you to just fully move while casting 100% of the time, no limitations, no like, oh, you can only cast this, just literally move while casting 100% of the time with either of these bonuses. It only takes 1 point. Pretty insane. So I'm a huge fan of both of those. Obviously, it's great to be a caster in this game mode because you're just permanently able to move and cast if you have even just 1 point in either of those. Alright, so now I want to talk a little bit about some of the rewards that you get for playing this game mode, you know, some of the reason why you would want to play it if you don't just, like, I mean, the main reason is fun, right? But let's say you hate fun. Maybe you want a tangible reward. There are a lot of tangible rewards for playing this this Legion Remix game mode in the form of lots of, like, cute little pets, which you can see on this NPC Horos here. He has quite a lot of collectibles. There are a lot of things that were very difficult to acquire, such as this strange humming crystal. I don't even remember where this comes from, but it's a Legion item that allows you to get the Wondrous Wisdom Ball quest, Wondrous Wisdom Ball pet. It leads to a quest. I already have that because I've played an insane amount in Legion, but you know, there are lots of very rare pets that are available. You know, just deterministically acquirable. We'll get to some of the cool transmogs as well. There are also this entire whole host of new class mounts available, one for every single class. They are based off of the class mounts that were added back in Legion. Some of these look really good. The Shaman Fel Elemental is insanely good. I'm a huge fan of that. Not really the biggest fan of the Priest one, but then also the Fel disc for mages is pretty sweet. So a lot of really good stuff here. And a really important thing that I wish I had known prior to buying one on several of my classes here, including Warrior. If you hit level 80 on a class, you automatically get this mount for free. So you can save yourself 20,000 bronze if you're leveling a character. Let's say you're leveling a warrior. Don't buy the mount. Just hit level 80. And now you'll have it for free. Save yourself quite a bit, you know, but basically instead of buying it on the class you're playing, buy it on, you know, something else, Rogue or whatever. Now, of course, that's not all in terms of collectibles. There are also some new transmogs, a new transmog set for Nightborn that looks insanely good, a recolor. Unfortunately, this isn't in the game yet. This isn't going to be in until the Argus release, which is about a month and a half away, which is a little annoying. 3 new transmogs for Lightforged Draenei. This one is like a particular favorite. I mean, they're all really good, but this one is insanely good. Other than my cloak there, backpack that doesn't match. Yeah, it looks really good. So that's pretty amazing. Just there's so much beautiful transmog cosmetic stuff in here. And then there's also the ability to just come over and buy here at the raid vendor Pythagoras. A lot of the transmog sets, or technically all of the transmog sets that were in Legion raids. Some of them are not available because like Argus isn't available yet, but you could just deterministically buy all of the transmog sets for Priest from Argus, right? And as it says here, it doesn't just give you the max level transmog, it gives you the transmog all the way down. So that's something that's really great, you know, if you've been just like really struggling to finally get that last piece of transmog, you can just very quickly nip in and get it. And bronze is way more plentiful in this game mode than it was in Mop Remix, and it's no longer the upgrade currency for your gear at all. There is no gear upgrading in this game mode at all. It just, you get gear and it either is an upgrade or it isn't, which is a great system. And now you can just spend your cosmetic currency on buying cosmetic items, which is how it should have been the whole time. And it's very plentiful. We've farmed probably, with how much I've spent, we've probably farmed like 300,000 bronze already, and we only just hit level 80 like earlier tonight. You're also able to deterministically buy the Scythe of the Unmaker, and that's available as like staff and polearm transmogs. You're able to get Taishalok, and that is available as a one-hander or a two-hander, which one-hander didn't exist before. That's definitely something I'm going to be doing Argus in order to be able to have that on all of my like warrior and paladin hips in the future. The Xavius shoulders will be available, so you know, all things to really like look out for in future releases of content for this patch, or for this game mode. And then, of course, in terms of reasons why you would want to play, there's obviously the fun power trip, the experience of getting to go back and do Legion again, which we've both kind of realized. I think Sunset may have known it the whole time, but I certainly hadn't realized that Legion is actually peak. I was sure that Mop was the best expansion, and having now done Mop Remix and Legion Remix, it's Legion. It's no question. We both definitely agree. Legion is the best expansion, especially since you're not having to deal with Legion Legendary RNG and the artifact power grind. This version of Legion is absolutely the best. Also, your character will carry over to real WoW once the event is done, so you can level a new class and have a new tune geared up and ready to go for midnight. You can also migrate it over sooner if you wanted to for some reason. Now, I do want to talk about some of the downsides here. There's bugs. There are bugs from regular Legion that are all still here, quest issues, item issues, lots of things like that. There are some new bugs as well. There are phasing issues, some party frame bugs because of the new world difficulty tier affecting dungeons for some reason. This is not all downside. There are some quests where you, for example, you have to kill monsters in heroic difficulty tier, and you can pick up that quest, turn on heroic difficulty tier, go into a regular dungeon and kill stuff, and that'll count. That's cool. But it does cause issues with unit frames in parties in dungeons. If people are on different difficulty tiers for their world questing, it'll affect the dungeon party frames for some reason. You can fix it by reloading, and that's what Sunset has done. But that does mean that at the start of every single dungeon, she has to reload or her party frames will be bugged out for the whole run. It isn't an add-on issue either. It's affected me. It's just straight up an issue with the Blizzard base UI, which is not great. There are also some real power inconsistencies while leveling. You know, the point of this game mode is to be zoomy, to feel like fast and overpowered, really. And it gets that right a lot of the time while leveling, but there are some points where you are blasting and then suddenly, like, you level up and the game levels way up ahead of you. And now you've gone from steamrolling everything to barely being able to fight one monster at a time, and that can feel like a real roller coaster. I have two good examples of this. The first would be dungeon difficulty scaling, especially while leveling. Everything in normal dungeons dies pretty much instantly, especially like early on in leveling. It's just really easy to do normal dungeons, whereas monsters in heroic dungeons could take several minutes to kill. It was a pretty big disconnect. The second, and by far the more punishing example, is going from like level 60 range up into the 70s while questing. Once you hit level 71, the item levels increase dramatically with each level, and so you go from wearing 300 item level and fighting monsters that are tuned for you having 300 item level to wearing 300 item level and fighting monsters that are tuned for you having like 420 item level. They were hitting me harder than heroic dungeon monsters or raid bosses for that matter. They were taking like a third of my health, half of my health with every swing. It was really scary. And then there's the issue of the time gating that we've kind of been hinting at so far in this video. It's the most controversial decision that Blizzard made with this game mode, and it does kind of feel like a miss. There is new content that will be released every 2 weeks for the next month and a half. Right now, the only available raids are Emerald Nightmare and Trial of Valor. There are some dungeons that aren't in yet. Cathedral of Eternal Night is one of those. There will be more raids and dungeons coming eventually, but there are some transmogs and other collectibles, such as the things I've already pointed out, that are visible but not actually available, not attainable right now because of that decision to time gate this content. I really don't like it. I do think it was a mistake on Blizzard's part. Ultimately, it's can't do anything about it, so, you can just complain, and here it is. So now I want to give a few tips here, some things to maybe make your experience through the first couple days of Legion Remix a bit smoother than ours were. First of all, if you're wanting to level up quickly, leveling in dungeons is, and I swear this is not an exaggeration, 10 times faster than questing. Maybe more, maybe 20. We were getting 3 to 4 levels per normal dungeon, and normal dungeon monsters are extremely weak. So that is the move. Do dungeons to level. But first, do your research quests. So after you've completed the opening scenario, you will gain access to Dalaran, and you'll gain access to the second, Dalaran island that I'm standing on right now. You'll get shepherded around to talk to all these characters, Eternus, and so on. You will get the ability to pick up a lot of research quests. You kind of get a choice of one of 4 things to do. It can be anything like kill monsters, complete quests, fly around and pick up motes in the air, whatever. You do have some ability to control that as well. You can tell Eternus, I want to change my research preferences. I would like dungeon assignments, I would like raid assignments, I would like quests, whatever. You can also say you would like them easy or hard. It's kind of up to you whether you want it to be like heroic raid or heroic world difficulty or heroic dungeons or whatever. But I kind of recommend just going for dungeons. That way you can do dungeons and also get research quests done at the same time. The reason you want to do these research quests, and I've already done a lot of them, so I don't really have that many left available to do here, but a lot of them will give you bonuses like this one, which give you permanent increases to your experience gains in Legion Remix, and those are account-wide. So, completing research quests for the Infinite Dragonflight gives you that permanent increased XP gain for your entire account. If I mouse over here, I have 77% increased XP gain for my entire account. A lot of those are rewards for completing research quests. There are some other quests around this island. You should definitely check back at this island periodically to see. There are some bonuses around here that are given by things other than research quests. But again, 77% increased XP. That's a pretty huge bonus, and definitely something that you're going to want to prioritize getting early so that you can keep your XP gains, soaring as you're running through dungeons very quickly. Now, with that being said, it's not a bad idea to bounce back and forth between doing dungeons and quests out in the world, because as I said at the very start of the video here, doing quests always gives you a reward box. You always get a piece of gear for every quest you complete. So if you're able to do some dungeons, level up, and then go into a new area and complete 10 quests in the span of 5 or 10 minutes, you can basically replace most of your gear with much higher item level pieces, and you can kind of bounce back and forth between doing those 2 things. Do some dungeons, get a massive XP bonus out of that, then do a handful of very tightly stacked up quests, and get a ton more gear, and then keep yourself strong to zoom through dungeons very quickly and not be one banged by any of the monsters that you run into out in questing. Alright, the last tip I'll give here is just simply related to bronze. If you are wanting to collect a lot of things, let's not say everything in the game, but a lot of things, then the best way to farm as much bronze as possible really is just to do everything. There are big bronze rewards. You can find this in the Legion Remix tab of the achievements, but there are bronze cash rewards for pretty much everything in this game, whether it's killing enough rare monsters in each zone, or completing the main storyline in each zone, completing all the side quests in each zone, completing each dungeon on normal, on heroic, on mythic. So you really have an incentive to kind of just go around and get a taste of everything, be a sampler, which I love to do. So that is the biggest thing I can recommend. If you're wanting to collect stuff, go do a little bit of everything. Do some LFR, do some dungeons on normal, heroic, complete some quest lines, really just kind of taste test a little bit of everything, and you're going to get a lot of bronze as a reward. Like I said, we've already gotten about 300,000, which is more than enough to buy all of the class mounts or 10 different raid transmog sets. So, you know, they're really making it a lot easier to get a lot of cosmetics this time around. I definitely feel like my time has been appreciated and then rewarded for playing Legion Remix, even just in the first couple of days. And that pretty much covers it. Legion Remix is really fun, and you should probably play it. Legion was the best WoW expansion that we've ever had, yet, at least, and especially without the AP grind and RNG legendaries, it's really awesome. So if you missed it the first time around, or maybe you didn't, maybe you just want to revisit it, now is the time to do that. There's plenty of amazing cosmetic rewards to collect as well. There have been massive numbers of players around every day, logging in and looking around at noon. It's more than I can remember seeing in retail WoW in years, and for good reason. Legion Remix is awesome. Since it's still the month of October, we've got another scary movie recommendation for you as well. It Follows is one of the best scary movies. We're both big fans. Alright, that's it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and join the Skipping Sleep Studio Discord and become part of our community. And finally, thank you to all of our channel members. If you want to support us and help us make more WoW content, become a channel member or come boost our Discord. Thanks for watching. Bye.